I've been thinking a lot about what my dream shop would look like. And I don't know about what your dream shop would look like, but I know my dream shop, I'm not talking so much about the physical look of the shop as much as the makeup of the tools and the capabilities of what kind of shop would be my dream shop. First off top, my dream shop would not just be a woodworking shop. There would be essentially, I mean, I don't know if I could get it all under one roof, but if I could, I'd have a section totally for auto mechanics that would have a car lift so that I could lift my cars up off the ground and walk up under them and repair them in that fashion. I would obviously have an engine stand, engine hoist, a scan tool that would do the job as far as being able to diagnose any problems that I had so that I could just roll my car in and do whatever I needed to do with my car in that way. So that would be part of my dream shop. The next part of my dream shop would be something else that I haven't really gotten into is a total metal fabrication type shop. And what I mean by that is I would have all the different types of welders so that I could do welding. I would have the Revolution cross-cutting miter saw, the one that does the 45 angles. I've looked at that multiple times and wanted to pick it up so that I could cut metal, and maybe a circular saw. I have a small Milwaukee circular saw that cuts metal, but I was looking at the bigger one that they have, and also being equipped with, a potential bandsaw that would be able to cut metal. And the reason why I would want to do that is to be able to make my own fasteners and attachments and stuff that could be used in metal items and also in woodworking projects. I could see myself, if I was into metal fabrication and knew how to weld, I could then venture out and try to make something like the Festool UG stand that they use for the Capex. Like, then you can really try to recreate that on your own if you have the capability to work with metal. So that's something that I've always thought about. And then also that metal fabrication functionality would give you the ability to make custom parts for your car and then also repair things that, are a little bit more advanced. So that would be the metal portion of my shop. And as I said, I've already covered, I would want to get one of those like metal MFT tables so that I could do all the hold downs and welding and stuff like that. And then from there, in regards to my woodworking shop, things that I would like to do, I would like to have the ability to do lamination. I would like to get the vac press machine with the vacuum bags. Now, I wouldn't necessarily go as far as getting one of those vacuum tables because, I mean, that would require a lot of space. And a vacuum table can cost, if you get the big one, it could be like $6,000. So not necessarily talking about that scale, but having the vacuum pump, having access to vacuum bags and vacuum clamping accessories, I think would be an excellent addition to the woodworking shop. A Festool Conturo to be able to do edge banding, I think would be an amazing addition to the shop. Another tool that I would really be interested in, couple Mafel tools. I want to get the Mafel track saw because I really am interested in seeing how that works. But they also have they have a KS80, which is similar to the Festool HKC, but it's more heavy duty. It actually has a 80, I think off of the rail, it may have an 85 millimeter cut depth or 86, something like that. And on the rail, it has a cross-cutting rail similar to the HKC. You have an 82 millimeter cut depth with that saw, and it's a thicker gauge cord, which means that it's more powerful. And so you could cut through deeper material, and it's a saw that you would want to run on a 20 amp circuit. The other tool, which I think is even more fascinating, I don't know the name of the tool, but it's similar to, well, it's not really similar, but it's related in, it's kind of close in relationship to the Festool 85 saw that's only sold in Europe. That saw has the ability to cut deeper. It's 85 millimeter cut depth, but it also has an accessory where you can cut dados with that particular saw, which is pretty darn slick. Mafell has a version of that where you can cut nice chunks of material out, and it's an expensive tool. It's like $3,000, but that tool is sick. If you wanted to cut tenons or anything, or if you need to remove a whole lot of material fast, it's basically like having a handheld dado machine. And it comes with a rail very similar to the HKC so that you can use it in that fashion. That tool is super sick. So you have that saw. I've already touched on the edge bander. I would get the edge bander and the table so I could do handheld edge banding and regular. The vac press and the vacuum bags would work with the edge bander so that if I wanted to make any kind of like shop furniture or anything like that out of cheaper woods like the press wood or whatever you call it, the particle board or MDF, then I could get away with that because I could veneer it and make it look really nice. I think that would be very cool as far as for a shop. The other thing that I would have in my dream shop is a large capacity bandsaw so that I could rip boards and be able to make some of my own veneers out of wood. I'd also like to have a longer bed jointer, one of those, and I almost got one, but it was difficult for me to pull the trigger on it simply because when you start talking about buying joiners and those bigger machines like that, you have to consider, is it worth it to buy a 120 volt version of it? And it's crazy in the price. Like if you were to buy, say, a Powermatic with the regular straight blades, I want to say it's around maybe $1,200 for the long bed jointer. It's only like a 6-inch jointer though. It's not an 8-inch. But if you wanted to upgrade that to a helical cutter head, it goes all the way up to like $2,400. So for me personally, I would rather have the helical cutter head. And so obviously it knocks that price really high. For myself personally, I just opted to get the benchtop Rikon just so I could get some practice in learning how to use a jointer. And then of course, in my shop currently, my space is really tight because I kind of have too much scrap wood in the shop. And my garage contains my lawn equipment, my automotive equipment, my woodworking equipment, and then obviously since I'm doing a YouTube channel, I have multiple versions of different tools so that I could do some of these comparisons and contrasts, and so that I could speak intelligibly about one tool versus another. You know, it's hard for me to actually, it would be hard for me to talk about the differences between the DeWalt FlexVolt, the Milwaukee M18, and the Festool miter saws just off of specs alone. Anybody can go read that. But when I bring the tools into my shop, it gives me the ability to make cuts in real life and then share that data back. Like when someone asked me about the FSK reel, I was able to just go home, put it on the saw and make the cuts and test it for myself. And I really like that. I mean, I wish that there was kind of like a 24-hour fitness for tools, a place in everybody's community where you could pay a monthly membership and go in any time of the day and have access to higher end tools so that you could build projects. You bring your own wood or maybe buy wood there and you can make projects. That would be amazing because then you would be able to learn from people that have more knowledge about woodworking than you. And you would also be able to try before you buy. Just like at the gym. You know, you can go to the gym and you use the treadmill, you use their weight machines, you use all these things, and they're based upon the results you're getting. You can say, oh, you know what? I don't want a resistance machine. I want free weights, or I don't want this kind of exercise bike. I want that kind of exercise bike, because you get the opportunity to try it out for a monthly fee. And you could bring that experience home if you so chose. I think it would be really cool if they actually had some kind of thing like that. It wouldn't have to be 24 hours, obviously, but it would be super convenient for it to be 24 hours, because for those of us that would be working during the day hours, then you can go in the evening or the night and do those things. But I'm pretty sure the insurance for something like that would be super high, so it would be kind of challenging to create something like that. But I think it would be interesting. I did have to reach out to woodpeckers today to make sure that my order is getting shipped for the squares, and that seems to be squared away and on its way. All right, guys, this is day 9 of my exercise routine. We will see how long I can keep this up before I fall by the wayside. I'm hoping that I can keep it up indefinitely. I'm not pushing myself too hard. I'm doing 30 pounds of weight worth of resistance on the Bowflex, with the exception of the leg press, which I do 310. And then I'm just jogging on the treadmill to try to build myself back up to close to where I was at least. So anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, so we've completed day 9 in a row of doing a little exercise, trying to be a little bit more fit and active. I've already noticed that it's kind of taking me down in other areas and other aspects. I came home today, didn't feel quite as up to it to go in the shop, but I did go out there and do some cleaning up. But I feel like as I get used to this, I should have more energy and be able to be more engaged in those other areas as well. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in a bit.